tonight. God's grace and mercy are with you. You're sitting on top of the mountain. That grace and mercy is with you even then. And God knows it's with you in the valley. Sometimes that's the thing down there with you is the grace. Amen. And these young people, I tell you, somebody said, did not our hearts burn? Amen. God is good. Yes, indeed He is, sir. I'm not going to argue with you on that. I'm going to invite your attention this morning to the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7. The Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7. And we're going to read only a couple of verses there. It will be verses 13 and 14. Amen. The Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verses 13 and 14. As my pastor used to say, Jesus is doing a little bit of teaching here. Amen. And in the midst of this Sermon on the Mount teaching, he says, enter ye in at the strait gate. Amen. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. And many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. These are the words of the Lord. Amen. We just bless God for your obedience. In fact, Jesus goes on in 13th chapter of Luke to say about that narrow way and that straight gate. And these are interesting words that he adds in Luke 13. And just for your reference, verse 24, he said, strive to enter in at the straight gate. I thought those were interesting words. Especially when we think about Jesus Christ and we always say everything is so easy, right? But yet, as simple as salvation is, yet he adds the words strive. And strive means to struggle. Amen. That's what it is. So you have to struggle to get through the straight gate. Isn't that incredible? Amen. And you have to wonder why. Why would I have to struggle so to be in Christ? Why? We'll see. You and I face lots of decisions in life. Amen. Amen. I like decisions where there are multiple choices. My Lord. Amen. But one thing happens in life is there comes a time when we all face what we call either-or decision. That's where a decision is either black or white. There are no multiple choices. It's either A or B. Well, true or false. And a decision such as this, in which we find ourselves in these either-or, there are only two possible choices. Amen. It's either black or white. It's not gray. Gray is not even a possibility. Amen. You're either with me or against me. There are no other possibilities. In other words, you can't straddle the fence. You can't stand on the fence. There's no grayness in Christ Jesus. You're either in or you're out. Amen. It's just that simple. And we hate being pressed into those choices. Because we always want to have a little bit of cushion, right? In case we don't get it quite right. But with God, you either get it right or you get it wrong. There is no in between. You see, Jesus is trying to bring us to that same understanding here. He says in the spiritual realm, we are going to be confronted with either or choices. And the interesting thing about them is you will have to make a decision. You can't avoid it. You can't wish it away. You can't pretend that the choice isn't there. He says, and every man, woman, boy, and girl will have to make a choice. And so here, Jesus lays out the two choices that confront every person in this world. Amen. Everyone has to come to this point. He says these choices must be made, and not only must they be made, these two choices will represent the single most important choice you will ever have to make. Amen. the single most important choice you'll ever have to make. And everybody has to make the choice. Amen. Now, what you do when you are confronted with these choices will determine how you will live your life. How you deal with this choice will determine how you will die. And how you make this choice will determine where you will spend your eternity. Amen. And every person has to make a choice. So today I want to use a simple subject called only two ways. There's only two ways. Either or. Only two ways. This isn't like driving up to Springfield now. We used to call it the Spaghetti Bowl, because the roads are going in so many different directions, right? But Jesus simplifies the mixing bowl. He says there's only two ways. Don't let the spaghetti fool you, because you're going to either be going north or south. Don't care which one you tell. Okay, how you doing? Don't let what you see sometimes fool you. You see, in life, there are only two directions. In life, there are only two destinations. In life, there are only two decisions to be made. And that's it. So I want us to see that while life often appears, see, this is what Jesus said. He said, he's telling us here, he says, there is a way that appears. And it seems, he didn't say it was right. He said it seems right. Amen. And it's broad, which means it can easily be seen. And that broad way will seem right. But the end thereof, if you continue on that road, you will reach the destination. You will reach the end. And he tells us that the end is destruction. So I don't care what you think. And so life often appears to be filled with difficult choices, but it only boils down to only two. There are only two real choices in life. I thank God nowadays we have GPS. Especially when I'm in the car with my wife. Every husband has that experience, or has had the experience before GPS. Amen. We would get in the car and we'd be traveling. And then comes those words you never want to hear. Are we going the right way? No man wants to hear those words when you're driving. But I have discovered that when I'm traveling, that where I end up has a lot to do with the choices I make along the way. In fact, I found out many times that by making one wrong turn, I would find myself many miles from where I intended to go. Amen. I'm going to be honest with you. I never wanted to admit that I was going the wrong way. So I would just say, I meant to do that. Yeah, I wanted us to, we've never been this way before. We need to see it. Do I know where we're going? I meant to go this way. Amen. Look at friends. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah, you been talking to your wife too. You know, but now that we have GPS, thank you, Jesus. Amen. Brother good now. But before, woo, wife be sitting there questioning you, checking out your navigational skills, your ability to read a map. And I would never give her the satisfaction of saying she was right. I didn't roll like that. Did I know where I was going? And the same analogy, though, holds true in spiritual matters. Because you can find yourself in eternity based upon the road that you took while here on earth. And I hate to tell you, one wrong turn here on earth, you just might end up in hell. Do you know where you're going? I meant to go there. That didn't even come out right, did it? I meant to go there. Whoa! Hey. No. And let me tell you something. So today, first a few, and I'm trying to help you to be able to respond to others who sometimes want to question your understanding. And here's what I tell people. It is impossible to take the wrong road and go to heaven. Amen. It is impossible to be on the way to hell and go to heaven. It is impossible to take the road to heaven and end up in hell. Amen. The road to heaven leads to heaven, and the road to hell leads to hell. But the devil will cause you to think that you can take any way you want and get to where you're going. One wrong turn on the spiritual highway of life will lead you to a place that you prayerfully did not intend to go. Our life. You know, we come into this world and we all drop anchor because we believe, we've convinced ourselves we're going to be here forever. Amen. Amen. That's what happens when you're young. Amen. Amen. When I was younger, I felt the same way too. I felt that I was going to be here forever, but there's a point out there in time. I don't know where it is. I think we all get there. And something happens. I don't know what it is, but I remember for the first time in my life, I began to sense my own mortality. I began to realize in a very sober way that I was not going to live forever. Even though I felt like it. I felt good. No aches, no pains, no nothing. My medical records only had one page in it, and that was the little form they filled out the day I joined the Army. That's it. Now I have volumes, encyclopedias, series. Which book do you want? I'm telling you. Amen. Every person that served in the military got a file that looks like this now. That's the way it looked. But there was a time we were the man. Go to sick call. Go, well, oh man, no such thing. But I began to sense my own mortality. And I began to realize, I don't know, maybe it was the fact that my great-grandmother died. I don't know. Maybe it was the fact that my grandmother died. Maybe it was the fact my mother died. And then all of a sudden, all these people that used to be in front of me, they were all gone. So I say, if God allows you to live long enough, you will get to the head of the class. There will be no one else in front of you. You're it. Tag, you're it. They used to have a game called the head of the class. Now you're the head of the class. And if God allows it, one day you will be the guest of honor. You will be the reason that we assemble. And all of that, I can't tell you why it happens. I just know it happens. But for the longest, most of many of us did a military career. I didn't feel that way in the Army. I felt strong, young. Amen. Amen. They tell me that now you're only as old as you think. And I tell people, and people in my army know I don't think old. But my body reminds me every day that I am not young. Even though I think young, my body reminds me every time I go in there and take those maintenance drugs. That's what I call them. They got a name for them. To regulate my blood pressure. Can't do it on my own no more. Cholesterol pills. Can't do it on my own anymore. Keep things down and balanced. So I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Brother Mike asked me this morning, Pastor, how's your back? Well, they didn't ask me that when I was 21. But they ask me that now, but they'll see me sometimes get up out of chair and Pastor back every day. Amen. But I think young. Feel like I'm 16. Every morning, my wife tells me, she says, look at you just want to play. I can't wait for her to get up in the morning. Man, I'll be downstairs because, ain't got nobody to play with. But as soon as she gets up, here I come. And she come on, look at me. And I'll be in the bathroom, she'll be like, what are you doing there? Who are you in there with? I am serious. I've been there having a good time. So I think young, but I have realized that I'm surrounded by death. My loved ones have passed away. Like Tasha, my friends are starting to die. And deep down inside, I know for a fact that it's going to happen to me one day as well. Scripture takes away all the mystery. James said, life is like a vapor. My mama used to have a kettle, and you sat there and watched it vapor, and then it disappeared, as though it was never there. Job said that man born of a woman has but a few days to live. He said, and even those days are full of misery. Now, I mean, those are scriptures that I think about. And so Job, notice Job does not count life in years. He says, man born of a woman has but a few days. So teach us to do what? Number our days. But we think we're supposed to get years out of it. All right. We believe scripture is true. God himself said it's been appointed unto every man to die once. So I know for certain that a day will come. And for us, it will come sooner than it will for others. But don't despair. It will come. So since we're going to leave this world someday, and when we do, we will continue to live. Amen. So notice that death does not mean the end. Death does not mean non-existence. You transition from this life to the next. And when you do, you're either going to live in heaven or you're going to live in hell forever. Amen. There are no do-overs, no oopsies, no mulligans, no nothing. So it's essential that we consider these two ways. Jesus said, first of all, there's a broad way. Here, that word broad means spacious. Jesus was saying that there is a spacious, a very broad road that a person can walk on. And the idea that he's trying to convey to us is that the broad way is wide open. In other words, anything goes. You can do anything you like. They have a song you say, you can be what you want to be on the broad road. On the Broadway, you can carry all the baggage you like. You don't have to worry about paying any, doesn't matter. I don't care how many pieces of luggage you have. Bring it. It'll accommodate all the baggage of your life. Don't worry, you can bring all the trunks you want. Because the Broadway is spacious. No limitation. You can live the way you want to live. You call the shots. You're the king of the road. And you can be as religious or irreligious as you want to be. You can go to church. You can pray if you want to. You can even read the Bible a little. You can do as much or as little as please you. Because the broad way encompasses everything from New Age religion to atheism. That's how wide it is. You can be the king of the road when you walk on the Broadway. You make all the decisions. You don't have to answer to anybody. You can live as you please, go where you will, do what you will, and be what you want to be. It's an easy way to live because there's no one to please. I always say there's only three people you have to please on the Broadway. Me, myself, and I. Because the Broadway is about self. Amen. It's all about me. At the end of the day, every decision you make in life distills down to your own self-interest. That's it. I know sometimes it sounds like we bring it, but I'm telling you, it's about, I listen to people say what they would do if pressed in a situation where it may be life or death, and we'll comfort ourselves kind of like Peter, saying how we would be willing to even possibly give our life. But do you know how hard it is to give your life? Because we all have a certain instinct to do what? To want to live. It's called self-preservation. I don't care what the relationships are. There's going to be a moment of hesitation. Because it's either you or me. And me doesn't take second place to anybody. So see, it sounds nice to say what you would or could or should. But you've got to overcome a very strong instinct to preserve yourself. You don't realize how much self is in control. How much self. That's one of the things I've learned very strongly in community organizing. It's about self-interest. That's what it is. You know, voting is about self-interest. People vote out of self-interest. Huh? Oh, it sounds so national, so patriotic, but at the end of the day, it's what decision best represents me. This decision, that decision. This candidate, that candidate. I believe this candidate will be better self-serving for me. Interestingly enough, it sounds right, but the end thereof. There's also a sinister side to this that Jesus is painting. And he said people won't always tell you clearly and plainly about the broad way. They always want to, it's like going to Disney World. You say Disney World, the first thing comes in our minds are smiles and fun and joy. But there is a downside to Disney World. Amen? That's exactly what it is. That's the downside. Disney is expensive. So the children are, I got to tell you. So my son who's here today, so we go to Disney, and he's almost maybe 5 years old or something like that. And his mother was there. Amen. So my self-interest was to do what? Get on rides or games or shows that were air-conditioned. Amen. Amen. Oh, you'll know about it one day. You'll know. But my son wanted to ride on Dumbo. Yes, he did. Dumbo. And I sat there and watched other kids in line get on Dumbo. I stood in line for 45 minutes, blazing hot, while the sky is blue and the sun is beaming on asphalt. Had a towel that I'm wringing water out of, so my son could spin around on Dumbo for 90 seconds. That's the way it is. All that time. So that my son could spin around for 90 seconds. And if y'all who have not had children yet experience that, you will. Because your wife, because your child, and when the child is about 4 or 5 years old, mothers have no mercy. Clyde, get in line. Amen. Get in line. Marco will ride Dumbo. Where is she when she tells me to do that? Sit in the shade. Get in line. Get in the shade over there. With a flirt. Let us know when you get up there. I'm just telling y'all. But they don't tell you about that side of business. That's the sinister side of business. Because nobody just walks up to the ride and get on it. Somebody got to wait in a very long line. Amen. That's one of the advantages of my hair being braided. Because grandparents don't stand in line. Boy, go on, your son want to ride? I'm sitting in the shade now. With a slur. Go on there, your son want to ride Dumbo, gone. And you not dead, nothing gone. That's the sinister side of Disney. So it isn't always a fun place. People don't tell you about the other side of Disney. That part that you come home slightly broke. Because you can put a lot of money. Don't get hungry. Don't get hungry in Disney. Amen. You better take some nabs or something in your pocket. But I'm going to tell you about the broad way. See, this is the sinister side. Jesus was trying to tell them, See, this is the part, see, because it seems, it appears. See, that's the devil's job, you know?
Yes, sir.
Revelation 12 tells us what? That the devil is what? A deceiver. And his job is to do what? Deceive the whole world. So his job is simple. Is to cause that which is not to appear as though it is. That's all it is. So you look at the broad way and it appears to be all that your heart ever desired. But once you come to the reality of it, you understand that it's not what it really appears. And one of the things you find out early on in life, you know, I couldn't wait to graduate from high school. You couldn't wait to graduate from high school. Because the one thing you wanted when you graduate from high school is to do what? To be in control of your own life. To make your own decisions. Only to find out that you are not in control. You're always dancing to somebody else's beat. That's what Jesus was trying to say. He says, and a lifestyle on the Broadway always brings consequences. The devil makes everything appear to be consequence free. He says, oh no, there are consequences.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
One man said, consequences and repercussions. But God offers us an incredible opportunity. God offers peace, joy, assurance of salvation, and the promise of heaven. None of which you will find traveling the broad road. You will never find God on the broad road.
Yes,
you can follow it to your heart's content, and you will never see Jesus on the broad road. He doesn't travel that way. But he does travel on the narrow way, to which he said we have to strive. While we have established that the broad way is wide open and easy, but this narrow way is very interesting. This word narrow carries, it actually refers to a great press. This is what he's talking about. It has the idea of being constricted. It can also carry the idea of being distressed and difficult. The narrow way is the opposite, the exact opposite of the broad way.
Yes, sir.
Reverend Ray, when I used to sit at his house, would always tell me, he said, Brother Ellis, he said, whatever a man thinks, God is exactly the opposite. God doesn't think almost sort of kind of just like a man. You know why? Because God is not a man. And God never thinks like a man. He thinks like God. And so that's why he told us in Isaiah 55, what? My way. I'm not sure. We don't think alike. We don't act alike. It just doesn't happen. People have even been mistaken that they can live as they please when walking the narrow way. That you're in control. So see, the devil has convinced you that you're on the narrow way when in fact you're still walking on the broad way. In truth, what is Jesus talking about? He's talking about the body in which you live. He says human nature will resist the narrow way. Human nature does not like to be told what to do. It doesn't like to be constricted. We find that the narrow way is too tight. We begin to believe that living as believers in Jesus Christ, a separated life, a life that would honor God, we sometimes have confused it to think that it's always simple. As the old folk used to say, that every day is like Sunday, and heaven and Sabbath will have no end. But let me tell you, living for Jesus brings with it incredible benefits that you will never find on the broad way. Three things about living the narrow way. One, the narrow way honors God. It always honors God. The narrow way brings God's blessings and power into your life. It offers a far better life from every perspective than what the broad way could ever offer you. The narrow way is the only way to honor the Lord and to be his disciple. You can't be on the Broadway and be a disciple of Jesus Christ. We have to live a life that has in total surrender to the Lord Jesus Christ, a life that is devoted, dedicated in obedience to God. And this is the only life that God will bless.
Yes, sir.
This is the only life. And all roads, if you notice here, they go somewhere. All roads will lead you to something.
Yes, sir.
To somewhere.
Yes, sir.
The same is true when considering the broad way and the narrow way. They both will lead you somewhere. And since everyone here is on one or the other road, you need to know where you're headed.
Yes, sir.
What's the destination that you will ultimately reach?
Yes, sir.
People don't believe that hell is real. I smoked for a long time. I smoked a lot of cigarettes. I got to a point where I was smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day. That's a lot of cigarettes. And people would tell me, Clyde, don't you know that smoking is hazardous to your health? I felt good. I could run, jump. Huh? I could do about a 7.5 minute mile. Huh? With a cigarette in my mouth. And every time we stop, what did the drill sergeant say? Light them up if you got them. Huh? Everybody, Brother Don, remember, in the B rations, in the B rations, they put a pack of cigarettes. They put a little pack of cigarettes in there. There will be 3 cigarettes in this little pack. And I get them out of there too. And I love to find the guys who didn't smoke. Man, look at you. People don't remember when the Army used to put cigarettes in the packages with your meat. Amen. So I used to get those packages and Pall Mall and smoke them to get back. But it didn't matter because I felt good. But then I began to understand there in fact are real consequences if you continue to smoke cigarettes for a lifetime. Sure, the reason we don't step away from cigarettes, and I know I maybe hurt somebody's feeling, but hopefully it's helping you, is because there are no immediate consequences. My father-in-law died from emphysema. It takes time. My sister-in-law now has COPD. It takes time. But the damaging effects are there. And just because you don't set anything, an immediate consequence on the broad way, you convince yourself it's okay. Because you don't see the thing that will cause your death happening immediately to you until you go to the doctor one day and they do a chest x-ray and there it is. And let me tell you what every person doesn't want to do when they discover that their lungs are not healthy anymore. They do not want to die. But that's a choice. They actually made the decision to die. So you said, what changed my mind? Simple. I ain't the smartest guy, but I ain't completely stupid. So I read, I was smoking cool cigarettes. And I read one day the ingredients in cool cigarettes. I thought it was just tobacco. So that's how naive I was. Until I found out that they mixed in with the tobacco Freon. So for a while, I used to be really stupid. I used to walk around with a can of Freon. And I tell people, get you a hit of this. God just get you a squirt. Man, you stupid, that'll kill you. Sir, the only difference between what you're doing and what I'm offering you is death will be immediate if you go ahead on and get some out this can. But sir, you are still going to die because you're sucking in Freon. And it's only a matter of time before. Freon is not supposed to be in a human body.
Amen.
Freon. rat poison, formaldehyde, this drugs that will kill you dead. Around here sucking on them. Okay? So now, the clock is ticking on. There are consequences when you make those choices. So I made a decision one day that I wanted to live. I wanted to live. So I got off the cigarettes. Because I wanted to live. Now, I heard all the silly comments. Well, you gotta die from something. Indeed you do. And I understand that. But why do you want to increase your chances by bringing things into your life to hasten your death? Why would you do that? So I tell people now that if it was up to me, and it isn't, that they would never sell cigarettes again if I was president. If I was president, they would never sell alcohol again. I'm reading this morning about a football coach this morning. You saw it in the paper? Killed for nothing. The devil is trying to convince you that this broad way does not have consequences, that there is no such thing as hell. Man is just a figment of your imagination, some old silly preacher up there telling. But Jesus says this road will lead to destruction. Now the word destruction that he uses here does not mean annihilated. This word means loss, total and absolute ruin. That's what he's describing. The truth of the matter is the broad way ends in hell, and every